wanted to put together a quick video to run through the concept of one of the banks that I contributed to Hammerhead. Now, the bank in question is 8x8s, and the concept is using the start point, getting effectively 8 sounds per channel. So you manage to squeeze 64 sounds out of Hammerhead. Now, in practice, it sounds like this. So that's just obviously one program. You skip through. So that gives you a picture of the kind of sounds that we're playing about with. Ultimately, these are all effectively electronic percussive sounds. So bear that in mind if you're messing about with that bank. I largely wanted to put it together to give you an idea of what can be done rather than to give you something that necessarily I feel is like, check it out, it's the finished article. So on that basis, each of these strips here, so we've got 8 of them, they're all, you'll see in the channel config, they've all got 16 steps. So they're all just using complete loops. And the way that works is they've all got user samples and they're all duration 4 bars. So that goes all the way across the board, 4 bars, which means obviously if I'm saying I've got 8 sounds, that means every half a bar there's a different hit. Now to illustrate that, I'm going to jump over into Koala. And you can see here I've got some buckler sounds, which are quite nice. Now, in order to sequence those to create a Hammerhead bank, I've just put them on every half bar, so it's like this. You get the picture. And the same, so that's the top row there, you can see. The next row, next page. And then all I'm going to do in order to output that is export, and then I would export the current sequence mixed, and then give it a name, save it somewhere, and import that. And that's exactly how I created these banks. So going back to these, that's what these look like, which means that if you go through, on every one of these start points, there is a different, so these are all stepped. There's a different sound on each one. So if we go through, if we look at one of these where we've got one in, let's go back to sample 1. So if you can see this one, if I mute this by long pressing number 2. Now some of these are not going to play because the chance is quite low. So let's put that up to the top. So this is effectively cycling through the bank now. If you see the start points, this one here, the first hit, that's going to be hit in the first sound, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. So they're quite similar, and the purpose of that is obviously to create a similar sound set to give you like a variation on percussion. That's obviously how it works in practice. So the other aspect that's important to bear in mind is obviously you've got multiple outs. If you just ignore this channel here, which is obviously has Brusfri on it, which is what I'm talking through at the moment, I've also got this set up on the multiple outs. Now the only thing I've actually done anything with is I've put on the snare there, or the what is approximated a snare, it has a spring reverb. So if you listen to it, this is just standard. So the snare hits twice. Obviously they're different sounds. Now if I turn that one off and open this one back up, so So you can hear the difference that that's made. And that's literally just taking one sound out and affecting that individually. Now you can see I've got all 8 channels there used, so I can put individual effects on each one. That's personally how I'm using it, and then I'm running those back through a master bus, and you can hear. That's quite a lot of presence. That's using the Reelbus in master bus setting, with mostly everything kind of maxed out. And Fabfilter, multiband, and I literally just picked something really basic. So it's the 4-band punch and balance, which is just a preset. Ideally, you'll probably get best results if you know what you're doing, tweaking the presets. But just to get something that kind of boosts the volume nicely and keeps it under control, that's quite easy just to throw on there. And the difference it makes, obviously, you can hear. So that's just a really quick example of how you can use 8 channels and 8 outputs to get 64 different sounds. And that's what I did in that particular bank. And I'll show you more examples of that in the future. Thanks for watching.